This week, Apple's driving mobile privacy, Nvidia's expanding GeForce Now, and what in the world happened with GameStop. It's Sunday, January 31st, 2021, and this is episode 586 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com, thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. First, you can join us live Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern by going to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us during the show and give your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. Or you can always subscribe at plughitzlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live, Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And of course, you can find all the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along. Avram, how are you doing this week? I know you've been doing some projects, as always.
Yeah. So, fun times. I got, I think I showed you last week how far along I'd gotten on my, Simon project. And now this is, as of tonight, in really, really great shape. Granted, it looks like some kind of a terror because it's on a breadboard.
Sure.
But check it out. If I play the script on it right now, you'll see that it'll play some tones. What? Management error. Only because I'm on with you.
Absolutely. But, we always say it at CES,
okay.
right? The demo never goes right the first time.
That's funny. Okay. Only now because I'm showing you is it doing this.
Of course.
What's supposed to happen is that all the lights light up. It plays a tone on the buzzer.
Mm-hmm.
That is beyond bizarre. Okay. Well, we will look at that later because, of course, it's going to happen.
Of course. Aren't computers fun?
When I'm on. Of course, it's going to happen when I'm on here. But what I will say is I think I see what happened. All right. I think I hit an extra button. But the thing is, let's see one more time. There we go. So it buzzes like Simon. Then you use this joystick to up is green, but if you did it wrong, then it'll flash other colors. And when you start, it starts at 0, right?
Oh, okay.
But then if you get it wrong, it makes these tones and says lose. So anyway,
you've definitely been having fun with that.
Yes. So that's the Raspberry Pi Pico, and what that game shows is that we were able to, my son and I were able to control LED lights, a 7-segment display, which is that little display, a joystick, an analog joystick, and a buzzer. So, a variety of different electronics together.
And all in really short order.
Yeah.
You've gotten to this point quickly, considering the platform is new.
Yeah, the platform is 10 days old. So, yeah. And I had this in good shape a few days ago. My main problem was that I was having all kinds of problems because I had taken the thing and I'd soldered the pins upside down on the one that I got because the back is where all of the IDs for the pins are written. So I wanted to put it like this. But when you push it too hard down into a breadboard, which is what people use for prototyping electronics, it starts to hit the reset button or whatever. So it's not a great setup. So I bought two more of these. They just came in the mail, and I spent the afternoon soldering. And so that's that's where we're at. But anyway, it's fun. It's an emerging platform. We've got lots of tutorials on it on about the new Raspberry Pi Pico on Tom's Hardware. So I encourage folks to check it out. And this definitely, for people who like to do electronics projects, it doesn't have the AI and other full-fledged Linux of a regular Raspberry Pi, but it's really good for kind of simple use cases, and it has analog to digital and things like that you would expect from an Arduino. And this could be an Arduino killer because it's so much better. It's in a lot of ways better than Arduino, and it's $4. It's expected to become a bigger and bigger platform over time.
Yeah, I suspect that we have seen just the beginning, just the tip of the iceberg on this, because I've been watching what you guys have been posting. It really does sound like they've found the perfect middle ground between Raspberry Pi and a totally dead board. Like they found exactly the right place and an amazing price point.
Yep.
And an amazing price point that you don't have to wait 6 weeks to order it direct from China.
Yep, that too. So I got mine from Adafruit here in the US, and it arrived in like 3 days. So
that must mean they're back in stock.
They were 3 days ago.
Okay, but I mean that means that inventory is showing up, which is which is nice. It's not.
Yes, it's
not like the gaming It's not like the gaming consoles or the video cards where basically once they're out, you're never going to actually get one.
Yeah, in and out of stock. Definitely the best place probably to get it is Adafruit, and you can sign up to get an alert when it comes in stock if it's out of stock, whatever. So definitely good. And then of course this week lots of testing of laptops, which we'll talk about a little bit later. A laptop that I've just finished testing that is the most powerful gaming laptop I've ever seen. So
nice.
So there's a lot going on.
I look forward to that. On our side, we've been spending a lot of time publishing the many interviews that we did during CES. If people have not seen them, they are available at PLUGHITZlive.com/CES. The ones that went up this week that were my favorites were obviously the Monster Illuminescence stuff, which is unfair considering they're literally powering my studio. And then of course Benji Locke, who has been, Robbie's been a friend of ours for years, since before he even had a working product, long before he went on to Shark Tank, and a product that we learned about during our conversation called Hero Trainer, which is a rewards platform for gamers for exercising. So you've got Pokemon Go, right, where you get rewards for walking and things like that in the game. This, you can actually buy Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo gift cards and in-game currency and stuff for other games. It's actually really interesting. If people want to try it out, it's totally free. And PLUGHITZ Live has a guild. So if you do join the PLUGHITZ Live guild, just search PLUGHITZ Live. We want to see we're treating it a little bit like we did with Folding at Home a couple of months ago, where we're getting all of our friends and stuff to join to see if we can make it somewhere interesting on the leaderboard. Right now it's not there, but we will get there. So people should definitely join us. The website is I don't remember the website, but if you search, I think it's herotrainer.io. But if you search Hero Trainer in your app store, whether it be iOS or Android, herotrainer.io. Whether it's Android or iOS, doesn't matter. You'll find it. Those were my 3 favorites this week, but we did publish 15 this week. No, 21 this week, and we've got 21 more coming this week. And it just keeps coming until we're done. So we've got quite a bit of time, but we've also got a lot of news to talk about this week. So let's get to that. This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, a new Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. And remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% on almost everything. To find out more and to see all the deals that are currently running, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right, so we've talked a lot about privacy over the last 2 years, and one of the topics that has come up recently has been Apple's new push for privacy on its platforms. Now, this is totally separate from all of the other odd conversations we've had to have about Apple on their platforms, but with the introduction of iOS 14, there was also promise of new privacy and security features. The first was an active list on the listing for an app of what data was being used and, to an extent, what it was being used for. That information went live a couple weeks ago. The second piece of information, though, which is way more important than the feature, is another. And I know we complain about them, but they're a good solution to the problem. A dialogue for use of the ID for advertising, the IDFA. So when an app wants to access the IDFA for your device, you will get the option to say yes or no. Obviously, privacy experts and firms have all heralded this as the beginning of improved privacy on mobile devices, and companies who have built their empire on data collection have gotten frustrated and fought this hard. The company who has been the most vocal has been Facebook. If you have an iOS device and you use the Facebook app to manage pages, you have definitely seen the little message at the top of your page manager that says, Apple's making changes that are going to affect the success of your advertising campaigns. Click here to learn more, or something to that effect. So Facebook has taken this and argued that without full access to the IDFA, they won't be able to accurately target ads to the detail they do now, which is true. However, there's a particular level, especially with Facebook, of additional tracking that they do that you don't know about. Websites can put the Facebook tracking pixel on their pages and give Facebook even more data based on your mobile or desktop device. It's one of the reasons why we talk about Pure VPN as part of the Piltch point, has been a way around that. But Apple is giving people who are legitimately worried about, the data that Facebook's collecting. And let's be honest, this has a lot to do with Facebook, a little to do with Google, and very little to do with everybody else. We have talked about the public's trust issues with Facebook and its data collection and retention policies a lot since Cambridge. And so it's not surprising that something like this has happened. Facebook is trying one last crazy Hail Mary play. They are considering a lawsuit, interestingly, an anti-competitive lawsuit against Apple, which is a very different one from the one filed by Epic Games and the Coalition for App Fairness. because the Coalition for App Fairness is arguing that Apple's using its position to prevent users from using the platform the way they want, and Facebook is arguing that the opposite, that Apple is allowing users to use their platform how they want. So it's a fascinating argument. The EFF has said there's no chance that this doesn't get thrown out on summary judgment, let alone make it to a trial. It's definitely an interesting appeal, Avram.
Yeah, I mean, I think, good luck to Facebook. I don't think that they're going to. I mean, especially their reputation right now is not good with anyone.
Yeah.
So I don't think Apple would like to be seen as doing any favors to Facebook.
True.
To help them. So sorry, Facebook. After everything that's happened with them, with Cambridge Analytica and all that stuff, I don't think anybody wants to be seen as giving Facebook more access to data.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned that they're kind of in hot water with everybody. They're in hot water with themselves. Their own independent oversight board doesn't like their practices and overruled four big decisions this week. Like, it seems like nobody is quite on Facebook's side. So you're absolutely right. I can't imagine anybody wanting a headline that says, Company A helped Facebook collect data. Doesn't seem like that would be good for anybody's business model. On the other side of things is Google, which I said it was a lot about Facebook, a little about Google, and not really about anybody else. Google has recognized that there is no appeal that is going to work, possibly because they don't want to be on the same fight as Facebook, on the same side, and partially because they probably know that Apple's not backing down on this. So they have announced that they will be switching technologies in their apps on iOS. Instead of using the IDFA, they will be switching to the SK Ad network, which is another system within iOS from Apple. It is not as robust. It is not as detailed, and also does not require the dialogue. So they're going to be switching to that effective soon, from what I understand, possibly as soon as their next app updates for all of their platforms. It is definitely interesting that these two companies, who normally, when it comes to data, tend to be on the same side, have taken very different tactics here. Tim Cook has been, I know people would argue with this, but I've never quite thought he was a great leader, but he's definitely strong against external forces, which is good in his position. He's obviously not Steve Jobs. He's a very different person. Steve Jobs was, a strong leader. He got people to do things. He got people internally excited. External forces happened, and he even got fired from his own company. But they're different people. But Tim Cook has been very strong against external forces, and so I think Google just recognized, we're not going to win this. There's no way out. Google we won't hear about again on this. Facebook we will, when this lawsuit is inevitably thrown out of court. And I think that is the only next step here. So,
yeah, they have no leg to stand on.
Yeah, exactly. And the new version of iOS with this feature active, the developers don't have to do anything. It's just like when iOS 14's first betas came out, particularly public betas. We saw that Snapchat was listening to the microphone when it shouldn't have been. Instagram was firing up the camera whenever the app was active because dialogues and stuff just started to show up. This is going to work the same way. The apps don't have to be updated to include this. The first time they try to access the IDFA, this dialogue will come up and it'll fail the request if you say no. So it might fail out the apps, but that's not your problem. The beta for this is already out for developers, so Apple is close to putting this into practice. And honestly, I think it's a good thing. I think we will be seeing it early spring is the timeline that's expected on it. So Facebook does not have much time before this thing goes into effect. And like you said, they don't have a leg to stand on anyway. So it's not going anywhere. This feature is coming out, and it's coming out soon. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all your devices, and you can get a special price all by going to piltchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, it's been a little while since we've gotten to do this. We have got a full-on demo tonight, right, Avram?
Yes. Well, if I can lift it. So this right here is the Alienware M17 R4. The M17 is an existing model, but the R4 is brand new, just came out a few days ago, and I have one here that I've been testing. This is the fastest gaming laptop that I've ever seen for a couple of, and faster than many that have the same graphics card. So this, you can get this with either an RTX 3070 or 3080, but this one here has the 3080, and it has a 10980H, a Core i9 10980HK CPU. So it's got the fastest mobile CPU and the fastest mobile graphics card in it, and it also has this neat, I don't know if you can see it easily, RGB keyboard with numeric keypad. And above the numeric keypad, if we can zoom in here, there's 4 customizable macro keys labeled ABC. Now, this design has been around since last year as far as the chassis goes, but if you're not a student of Alienware designs, this is called the Legend design, and it looks kind of like an alien spaceship. You have this honeycomb design above the keyboard.
It was the first thing I noticed.
In the back, the honeycomb grill is on the back. The alien head and the I don't know what you call this thing, exhaust section lights are both customizable, as is the keyboard light, which is actually 4 zones, and they have a configuration where you can get it per key RGB as well. I believe you can also customize the alien head power button, which this is a power button here. Now, this thing is 17. They make a 15 and a 17. This is the 17. I tested the 15 last week. If you care about carrying things around, I definitely recommend the 15. This is 6.6 pounds, and it really feels it. But that's because they, rather than going for thin and light, Alienware has gone for maximum performance. So a lot of the other systems that we've tested with 3080 in them, including the Gigabyte Aorus 17G, got easily 10, 15, 20% lower frame rates on the same games because they're using Nvidia Max Q technology, which is max quiet, right? Max Q. They don't really want to say, they don't really advertise much, but the Max Q technology is designed to make your system quieter and cooler, which is, more power efficient, but at the expense of performance. This goes the opposite direction, and it's heavy. The battery life is only 2 hours compared to like 4 hours on competitors. So you'll definitely want to bring the pretty hefty power brick with you. And you will hear the fan, but the performance is the best. Now, this unit here comes with, that I have, has a 1080p 360 hertz display. And the color on it is pretty good. There's also a 4K panel option, which I haven't tested, that claims to have 100% of Adobe RGB gamut, so but is only 60 hertz. On the 15, which I tested last week, that has a 4K panel that's OLED, and that thing is unbelievable looking. But we tested that with the 3070. It's not clear whether the 3080 would perform as well in that as it does in this. It probably would, because they're similar. But that being a smaller chassis, got much warmer. With the keyboard on the 15 getting as high as like 130 degrees Fahrenheit when we were running a game. Now, granted, that was the base of the keyboard. The actual keycaps didn't feel quite that warm, but it wasn't impossible to use, but it was quite warm. This stays cooler because it's got a bigger chassis to disperse the air, I think, and those fans are really, really pumped up. But I mean, this is really good. Like on max settings on Grand Theft Auto 5, which granted is a somewhat old game, we got 120 FPS. On other games that are really, really tough, like Red Dead Redemption 2, and on Cyberpunk 2077. So I played Cyberpunk 2077 on this at Ultra RTX settings, and there I was still able to get something like 70 to 80 FPS.
Wow.
And that's a very demanding game. If I turned the ray tracing off, it went up to more like 80 to 90 FPS. The audio on this is really good. Not fantastic, a little bit of tingus, but it's good. And the viewing angles in this matte display are good. Now, this is an expensive product. It starts at, I think, around $2,300 with the 3070. The one that I have in front of me here, because it's decked out, and not only does it have the highest end CPU and the highest end GPU, but it's got 32 gigs of RAM, and it has a somewhat strange storage configuration where it has three SSDs. There's two in RAID 0 that are 1 terabyte each, so 2 terabyte drive, and then a 512. Not sure why you'd really need a 512 if you already have 2 terabytes, but okay. This thing is about $3,500. So, but if you want the best performance, this is it. And I don't see performance getting any better on another laptop unless someone were to basically put a desktop CPU in it or a desktop graphics card, which we have seen people do in the past, and that makes something not even really a laptop anymore. You can also see this has a lot of ports on it. It has a Thunderbolt 3 port in the back. It's got mini DP, HDMI 2.1. It's got its share of USBs. It also has 2.5 gigabit Ethernet on the side, and it's got killer Wi-Fi 6. So,
wow.
Aside from all of the specs and the performance, the keyboard feels really good. It has a really, I'm very picky about keyboards, as I think people know me know. especially laptop keyboards. This one is 1.7 millimeters of travel, which is really good and very springy. I did some of my best typing on this. I would, I love this keyboard. It's fantastic. The touchpad is really large and gives you lots of room. This is has a lot going for it. Obviously, what it doesn't have going for it is it's heavy, but if you were buying a 17-inch laptop, you'd kind of expect that, I guess. Uh, it doesn't have long battery life, but again, not very portable. So do you care? And it has its share of fan noise because but you can limit that by tweaking your thermal profile, which you have control over. You can even try to, if you have the Core i9, you can even try overclocking settings on it. So, it's got a lot going on. That's the Alienware M17 R4, and we will have a review of it up on Tom's Hardware in just a couple of days.
Very cool. Now, I have a question. When you have it closed and you have held it up, there is, I think it's your right side on the top. There's a square on the surface.
Oh, this?
Yes.
This is not a square. This is the letter. This is the number 17 in a sci-fi font.
Oh, yes,
it's a little hard to see.
Yes, it is.
It's a little hard to see. It's the number 17, and it's in a. And by the way, this comes in white and black, I should say. The white is called like Lunar Light, and the black is Dark Side of the Moon. So this is the Lunar Light one. The M15, which I have reviewed, the review is live already. It looks exactly the same, except it says 15 instead of 17, and it's smaller. What I will say about the 15 that I really liked is the OLED display. And the 17 comes with a more colorful 4K display, but the 15 comes with OLED, and OLED is just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Now, OLED is limited to 60 hertz, so if you really want high-speed gaming, then you might not, care for 60 hertz. But man, OLED just looks so beautiful. And you can't get an OLED monitor even. Well, I think you can for like thousands and thousands, or an OLED TV. You can't normally get an OLED monitor on almost anything. So, while the colors on the 1080 screen here look okay, the colors on the OLED are better than real life. I would like to kind of just carry the OLED around with a camera and like look at everybody and everything with OLED, because OLED looks even better than real life. Instead of saying someone is looking through rose-colored glasses, we should say OLED colored glasses, OLED glasses. But definitely really powerful, great design, real winners from Alienware.
Very cool. I can see, obviously, I don't spend a whole lot of time gaming, but as you were talking on specs and all that, I'm seeing in the office below the tower at CES, a couple of people with these editing videos and trying to get stuff published from the floor. It would be unbelievable. And you could carry them in I mean, you would hate yourself, but you could get through an airport with a bag.
I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't get a 17-inch laptop. Some people would, and for them, this size is good. I would get the 15, but the 15 does run warmer. But I would get the 15 because the 15 is much easier to carry. It also doesn't have a good battery life, but at least it gets about 4 hours, and it has the possible OLED panel. So, and I would get it with a 3080 if you can afford it. But yeah, it's definitely going to be great for productivity. So all the things that make it good for gaming make it great for productivity. And if you get in 4K, then it's really good for video editing and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that Michelle and I have talked about and had hoped to maybe to put into practice this year, but obviously, things went sideways. Was the ability to essentially from upstairs once an hour dump our video downstairs and let somebody, because we've got an upstairs and a downstairs for our studio, and let people start editing and everything. And maybe, that would be our big, maybe a Patreon push or something, was the ability to have all those videos individually published and ready to go in Patreon during the event. So, it's, this would be the thing that would make that possible. Because obviously you're not going to do it on this laptop, or something like that. Or you'd have to bring, both of the beasts, one for upstairs, one for downstairs. And that's crazy. It's hard enough for us to get through TSA with one beast, let alone trying to bring both of them with us. So it is a cool laptop. I think there's a lot of promise for it. You said the review will be up this week.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I can't wait to read the full detailed review, but it sure sounds like a computer that I would like to have yesterday. So that's saying a lot, because I've had my mixed dealings with Dell and its sub brands over the years. So for me to say I would like one now is really saying something. So well, as always, Avram, I appreciate it. I love talking computers when you have something brand new, and I look forward to what we talk about next time. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. Get all the accessories you need to up your game on your PC, console, or mobile device from Razer. Whether you're looking for a gaming mouse and keyboard like we use in the studio, a webcam and light for your Twitch stream, or an entire gaming setup, you can find it all at Razer by going to f5live.tv/Razer. All right, it's been a little while since GeForce Now went from its working beta to its semi-not working public release, and all of the weirdness that came about when that release happened. We talked about it shortly after it released. Publishers started to request that their games not be available on the platform, and it kind of screwed up the promise of what GeForce Now was all about, which was games that you own, you'd be able to play. They thought they had a plan to get there, and it was a little shaky for a while. It has pretty much smoothed out. It's not entirely the original promise, but gamers are coming back. People are happy with what's going on, and so their next goal, of course, was the same as everybody who's doing cloud gaming. And that was bringing about access on devices that cloud gaming services aren't allowed on. In particular, Apple devices. We know that Microsoft and Google and Facebook have all struggled to get Apple to come around. We talked a little while ago that Tim Cook is not afraid to fight outside forces. And so the Apple has mostly said, and so things haven't changed. So what has happened is GeForce Now has built a web presence. It's the same thing that Google did. It's the same thing that Microsoft is working on. GeForce Now is available in November. It came out with support for Safari, of course, because they were trying to get onto Apple devices the easy way. And now they have also added Chrome support. Interestingly, it does not work on Chromium-powered Edge. They prevent you from using it, despite the fact that it is Chrome. So I wonder, I wonder if they'll work that out in the short term. Maybe there's legitimate like a difference of behavior between them. They're trying to work it out.
The first thing I'm going to try after this, right?
Is loading this up.
I'm going to try.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try this on a Raspberry Pi.
Nice.
Which comes with Chrome, which uses Chromium, not Chrome.
Oh.
It doesn't use Edge, but it uses Chromium.
Yep.
Because Google does not have like an official Chrome for like ARM processors.
Got it.
So it has Chromium, not official Chrome. So we'll have to see whether it works.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're doing a very basic user agent string scan, because I had to edit CES videos while I was writing this article. I did try to log in with Edge, and it was like, no. What I didn't do was open up F12 and tell it to lie and say it was Chrome and see if it worked, which will definitely be on my list of things.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something to try. I mean, this is exciting because it means there's more places that you could run it. Like now, do we know if it will work on mobile Chrome or mobile? On Chrome for phones and tablets.
Theoretically, again, I think it's doing a user agent string scan and looking for doing like a regex on Chrome and then a build number. So my guess is yes. It may run.
I wonder how the controls will work then, though.
Both iOS and Android allow you to pair an Xbox One controller, so you could do it with a controller. You could use the Razer Chronos, I think that's what it's called, mobile controller, which has been really popular on Android devices for Project xCloud, and for Stadia, because it's natural. It's almost like having a Switch, which is pretty cool depending on your phone, obviously, but it's similar to holding a Switch. So my guess is there'd probably be lots of options on how to do that. My goal is to get far enough ahead in editing this week that I have an Xbox controller for the office that I use for testing these types of things. So my goal is to do like a big test to try it on the Mac with Safari, on the PC with Chromium, Chrome, and Edge, and see if I can lie and get it to work. That's part of my hopes for this week, and then hopefully I'd be able to do it on Android and iOS too. I think we've talked about this a lot, usually in regards to Project xCloud, because just like we've talked about with the video services, right? All of the competitors in this space are trying to differentiate themselves. Microsoft is easy for them to differentiate themselves. They've got a huge catalog of Xbox exclusives. Okay, then you've got GeForce Now that tried to differentiate itself, saying, well, if you've got it on Steam or Epic or wherever, you can play it. It's a remote desktop. So I've been really excited about this concept, and so long as it works well, because Project xCloud works really well. I've got a Galaxy S10 Plus. I've got my Surface Duo. I've used it on both, and it works unbelievably well. If it works even half as well as those two do, there's a lot of potential here. So I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, I tested GeForce Now it was in beta seemingly forever. I think it was in beta for like 2 or 3 years.
Almost
it
as
was
long
in beta
as Gmail.
A really long time. Yeah, it was in beta a really long time. At one point, I got, after it had been around for like a year, Nvidia gave me a trial account to test it out, and I did. And I was using it on both my laptop, which has integrated graphics, so definitely not good for gaming on its own, and on an Nvidia Shield TV box. And when I was able to get in, the connection was good. It was fantastic, worked great. There were definitely some issues with getting kicked out at the time, and occasionally things would get or like they wouldn't let you in because it was busy or whatever. Now, but almost every game was available, and then of course once it went to a paid service, all these publishers demanded their games be pulled, which seems kind of unfair because, I mean, you paid for the game on Steam, right? Like, why? It's my game. What is your problem with my using somebody else's computer to play it? Which is what effectively GeForce Now is. You're using their computer to play it. But I mean, it works. You know, when it works really, and your game is supported. It works really well.
Yeah,
frighteningly so because you know, I kind of want gaming computers to still be a thing. And if this worked perfectly, if cloud gaming worked perfectly, like why wouldn't you just buy, you know, a lower end computer and use the cloud for all your processing? But it doesn't work perfectly, so there's that. But I have to say, when it works really well. I think the reliability has probably gone up since they actually started making the paying service. Even as the number of titles have gone down, but they have got some back. And if you like Cyberpunk 2077 is supported on GeForce Now, so that's something you can play. That'll be what I test it with. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think you get ray tracing with GeForce Now. So you will get, conceivably, even if you have discrete graphics, if your discrete graphics aren't, you know, on the higher end or the middle to higher end, if you've got some older graphics card, this might still be an upgrade for you.
Yeah. The promise of the technology, I mean, dating back to OnLive, the promise of the technology, and there's a brand name for you guys, has always been high, but the success of the technology has, until recently, consistently failed. You know, OnLive being a great example. That was way ahead of its time, and you know, it's the promise is there. It's obviously it's not going to be the focus for everybody. There's some people who are always going to want to have that local capability. They're going to want to be able to do things on their own hardware. There's the builders and the hobbyists and the Simon game you built. You didn't have to do that. You could have gone and bought one. There's always going to be people like us.
Oh, it was so much more effort, believe me, than buying one. But what's the fun of that?
Right. And that's what I mean. There's always going to be people like us that are willing to go way beyond what is even rational, because there's fun to be had in the project. So, you know, at no point will all gaming go cloud by any means. But you know, there's the ability to resurrect old games, things that require weird hardware configurations to be able to play. You know, one of my favorite games, PC games of the deep past, was Populous. You can't play that on a modern computer because it runs fast. You can't slow the timeline down, and the little guys just go, they're gone. I've tried. So, I mean, for games like that, I literally keep a 486 around to be able to play old games. So, I mean, the ability to emulate out and be able to even play old games is a pretty cool capability. So, I'm looking forward to messing around with this in a lot of browsers this week. if everything goes right. So fingers crossed. But I did
try it on the 46.
Indeed. Oh my God. That would be fascinating. Whether or not I'd be able to get a build of Chrome to run on it would be the real challenge. But
yes.
But maybe I could get another browser to lie and say that it is. Anyway, it would be I'm looking forward to seeing how this runs. It ran well in Chrome. I pulled it up in Chrome for a short while just to see what would happen, and it worked well. So I'm guessing that my experience will be similar across space and time. We'll see. And hopefully I'll be able to report back next week. This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by RiffTrax. Make fun of movies or let these guys do it for you. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy, the former stars of Mystery Science Theater 3000, are back and doing what they do best: creating commentaries for Hollywood blockbusters and B-movie oddities. It's like watching a movie with your funniest friends. And to find out about all of the full-length features, the short films, TV episodes, and live events, you can go to f5live.tv/rifftrax with an X. All right, this is a complicated topic. If you aren't at least marginally aware of what's been happening, you have slept through this past week. What we're talking about is the weirdness that has been the stock market and GameStop in particular. We're going to ignore everybody else because it started with GameStop, and we can talk about some of the other ones a little while. What in the world happened? So there's a couple of things to know. First, what short selling is and what it is not. Short selling is when an investor borrows a share of a stock or more from another investor, from an owner, and promising to give it back in a certain period of time with a fee for the lend. And then what they do is they sell that share, expecting the price to go down. They buy it back at a lower price and then give the new stock back to the original owner. There's been a lot of talk about short selling being destructive to the stock or to the market. It's not. Basically, it is an investor who recognizes that a stock price is incorrect and is predicting that it's going to correct itself. And so that brings us to GameStop. GameStop's stock, for whatever reason, has been too high. It has been GameStop, interestingly, and it's interesting that it's this stock that all of this happened with, because the jokes that have come out of it have been absolutely wonderful. I'm glad they knocked the Bernie mittens off the internet, because wow, has this week been a lot more fun for memes. Because GameStop is known for offering you 30 cents for a $60 video game and then putting it back on the shelf for $54. So their stock price has basically mimicked their business model. What happened was a group of amateur investors on a group on Reddit called Wall Street Bets that has been around for a while. And what they do is they take on interesting Wall Street challenges. In this particular case, they recognized that a number of hedge funds, one in particular, had taken out a very large short option on GameStop. In fact, and this is going to sound crazy, totally possible, and has very little impact on the stock price. 140% of all of GameStop's public stock had been shorted. I know.
How can you short more than 100%?
By borrowing stock that has already been shorted from the people who purchased it in the short. I know it is, like I warned people at the beginning of this is a complicated topic. So I borrow a stock from you and I sell it, and then I sell it to Michelle, and Michelle then lends that stock to Danielle, and Danielle shorts it as well. So that's how you can get to 140%. So what Wall Street Bets did was they said there's a lot of short options out there. That means that the ability to affect the stock price will be easy, as so much stuff is locked up in shorts. So what they did is they bought the stocks that had been shorted through platforms like Robinhood and things like that, and the stock price went through the roof. When I say through the roof, I mean it went from like $38 a share to almost $500 at one point. So it's unbelievable what they managed to do by getting just truly, in the grand scheme of things, a small group of private investors together. The board on Reddit had about 2 million members. But if everybody buys 3 at $38, boy, does that screw up the price. Now, here's the thing about shorting a stock. At some point, you have to buy it back so you can give back to the original owner. So as the stock price is going up, you've got to get out. The institutional investors have to get out. And so they have to buy the stock back at the higher price, meaning the price will continue to go up. But here's the thing. And this is the part that people who got in the second wave and beyond may not understand. They're not going to be selling the stock for that price because the demand, the floor, has come out. All of the institutional investors have bought back what they needed. The price has peaked, and now nobody wants it. And so the floor is going to fall out from this thing. And so this is why reactionary things, especially in investing, are a bad idea, because the people who got in last in phases 2 and beyond are going to get hit hard on the price. They likely bought it in the 100, 200 range. And it's very likely that we're going to see this thing back to in the $30 range real quick. So the people who got in early and were part of the Wall Street Bets group already got out, because the whole idea was to take advantage of the hedge funds that made a bet. 2 gamblers made bets against each other. One side's going to win. It was the Reddit group that won in this case. And it's the people who didn't quite understand what was happening that are not going to win, because the hedge funds have already taken out a new line of credit and moved on with their day. The people from the Reddit board have sold their stock to the investors at $400 a share when they bought it at $35. And that's leaving these other people holding the bag, which I think sucks. It's a weird story for sure, that got Facebook fame, which is why people got into it without quite understanding what was happening. There was like a counterculture belief happening, and that wasn't really what was happening, because no, Wall Street wasn't being robbed for the little guy. That's not what happened. Nothing legally is going to come of it, because there's nothing illegal or immoral about shorting. There's nothing.
So why did Robinhood block it?
So that's a fascinating question. There's a lot of theories as to why Robinhood blocked it. Their business model is a little different than most trading platforms, because the ownership model isn't entirely one-to-one. You don't exactly own the stock. You kind of own stock in the stock. And Robinhood will make, similar to a hedge fund, will oftentimes make other stock purchases behind the scenes automatically based on demand for a stock. So my prediction is that automatic purchasing ended up getting in the way and adding to the trouble that was happening with the stock price. And so they had to do something to prevent themselves from accidentally manipulating the market and ending up with stocks they didn't want to be in the same position that the people who were getting in late were getting into. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is what TD Ameritrade said, because they also shut down trading for a short while on GameStop. They said that they were trying to prevent their customers from being the bottom tier of a Ponzi scheme, which isn't, I mean, that's not really their words, but it's basically what they were saying, because what's a Ponzi scheme, right? The guy on top sells $1 to 2 people, and those people sell that same dollar to 4 people. And that's kind of what happened here. And the people at the bottom, like I said earlier, are the ones that are going to get hurt, because the floor is going to fall out. At some point, the Ponzi scheme collapses, and the people at the bottom are the ones who don't get out of it. And that's kind of what's going to happen here. So TD Ameritrade kind of suggested that the reason they shut trading down for a short while was they didn't want their customers to be that bottom tier in this theoretical Ponzi scheme. So Robinhood might have been there. There's also an interesting conspiracy theory that's going around that's based on some pretty sound reasoning. One of the big investors in Robinhood, one of the ownership people, one of the organizations with the ownership stake in Robinhood, is the owner of the hedge fund that started all of this. And so there's definitely conspiracy theory that the investor said, stop this so we don't go out of business, and that they acquiesced. There's no real telling exactly why Robinhood did what they did, but they weren't the only ones. They're just the ones that are getting the attention, partially because of their name and partially because it's the platform that started it all, because it's their whole thing is democratizing investment, because you can buy a single share of something, which you could never do in a real investment environment because you pay fees. Robinhood doesn't have fees, so okay, I can buy one share. My cost for the purchase is 0 versus $3.50, whether you buy one share or 1,000 shares at, say, TD or Scott Trade or something like that. If you're paying $3.50 for a single share of a company on top of the stock price, it's got to do a lot of things to justify that purchase. But Robinhood doesn't have that fee, so they were the source of a lot of what was happening. There's a lot. That's why they're receiving a lot of the attention. But again, they weren't the only ones to either suspend or slow down or whatever trading. But a lot of it, my guess is a lot of it has to do with the way they actually do trades, because they hold the stocks. Like, you can't call up Robinhood and say, I would like the certificates, please. That's not going to happen. But you can with TD or Scott or somebody like that. You can call and say, all right, I would like my certificates, please. And they will send you the actual stock certificates. You can't do that with Robinhood. So, the ownership is a little different, so their risk is higher. So I'm not entirely surprised. But, I mean, here's the thing. What Robinhood did managed to get Ted Cruz and we're not supposed to use her initials. We're apparently not.
And Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, there we go. We're apparently not supposed to use her initials because it's racist, but it's her Twitter handle. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, got the two of them on the same page for a minute until that conversation went off the rails too. But because everything about this story is weird. There's the fact that this story has created this weird like counterculture, eat the rich, and I'm not kidding, a sea shanty that is now my ringtone on one of my phones because it's amazing. Somebody recorded a sea shanty about this. This is the weirdest story ever.
Look, I think what is made it a story. I mean, obviously, games. I think there's a lot of things going on here that are
It's the perfect,
interesting for people.
it's the perfect storm of weird.
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, I think what politicians on both sides of the aisle agree on is that people should be allowed to buy a stock if they want to, and so companies that are saying, "Hey, you can't buy the stock," for whatever the reason is, whatever the reason is, that's not good. Right? Like people should. Now, granted, they could go to another platform.
It's literally the point of like the stock market is supposed to be the epitome of the free market. And this turned out to not be that. Obviously, there are certain, you can't pump and dump. There's certain things where you can't actively defraud other people. But in general, yeah, the idea is it's supposed to be as close to the perfect free market as you can have. And, it didn't quite work out that way.
Right. The other thing is that it kind of proves, and, we didn't talk about the other companies that were also saw like AMC as the other one, right? So you have two companies in GameStop.
AMC, and this is the perfect storm of weird. AMC, which in December said that they had about 8 weeks of working capital left before they might have to close their doors forever. AMC saw what was about to happen, put additional stock on the market, about 15-20% into their stock increase, and they managed to get themselves out of inevitable bankruptcy.
Right. So here's the thing, though, right? Everybody, I think what this proves again and again is that the market is run by the market prices are determined by people, and they're not always rational, right?
Right.
We have a marketplace in which Apple can have an extremely profitable quarter, but if investors think that it should have been more profitable, the stock will go down. You can have a company that's, kind of on the downside of its, going downhill,
Tesla,
like a GameStop, but if they do better than people thought they would, their stock price goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's really no justice. Like if you're a company that keeps turning out profit, shouldn't people be happy? But they're not, because the price goes down. So I think what you could look at it as is a bunch of investors said, hey, they probably weren't being magnanimous in this, but they could have said, hey, we like this GameStop. We want to own a piece of it. We want to support this company, or we want AMC to stay in business, because if AMC goes out of business, my family might not be able to go to the movies.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but they're the number one theater chain, and if they go out of business, that means a lot to the movie industry.
On the GNC Week in Review show, just before the end of the year, when we talked about that they only had like 8 weeks of capital left, I did a search for movie theaters in like a 50-mile radius of where I was, and like 17 of 22 theaters were AMC. So yeah, they own the marketplace.
Right. So if AMC, what is wrong with a bunch of investors deciding, hey, we know this company having more of a, I don't know, either being civic minded or having more of a long view instead of a short view like most investors have, and saying like, hey, movie theaters are going to come back at some point, but they will only come back if we can keep AMC going, because if AMC goes out of business, that means a lot of trouble for the movie industry. It has just a really broad impact on the culture, everything. If the movie theater industry goes goes kaput. So instead of looking at the short valuations are always based on, oh, I think this company is going to do better this quarter, and are very, very short-sighted very often. Maybe people are looking, what is wrong with people looking at a company that is underperforming right now and saying like, hey, I think I'd like to support this I'd like to support this company. I'd like to help them stay in business. So I'm going to buy some shares. I mean, maybe that's not why people are buying AMC, but the end result is that AMC may stay in business and people
Right.
may be able to go to the movies next year that
Right.
wouldn't be. And movie studios should be the ones actually buying the shares. Will be able to come out with their movies and have people watch them.
Yeah.
If AMC can stay in business another 6 months or a year almost no almost no people using it.
Yeah. Now, it is important to note that just because a stock price goes up or down, that doesn't necessarily mean that it affects the company in any way, shape, or form. The only way that it does is if they then sell additional shares to take advantage of that price, which is exactly what AMC did. AMC was super smart about it. They saw the opportunity. They're like, all right, well, you know what? Let's put some extra shares out on the market. Let's figure out what how many units we'd have to sell to be able to keep the lights on for however long. And they made an additional release of shares, which was brilliant. In GameStop's case, they didn't put any additional shares out onto the market, so it didn't affect their operations in any way. But it did bring attention back to GameStop in a way, well, both positive and negative, because a lot of the jokes were about the value of the stock price and comparing it to their business model. But there was, there's a lot of attention back on a company that a lot of people thought had faded. With all digital consoles, both PlayStation and Xbox in this generation, there's certainly concern about GameStop's future. It was a smart idea for them to make that deal with Microsoft. I don't know if a Sony equivalent is coming, but that can help them keep the lights on for a while. But there's definitely a lot of attention back on them. Again, both good and bad. But yeah, if in one of these situations, if there's if there's a way to leverage it, like what AMC did, because it was truly a clever solution. The way they leveraged what was going on was brilliant. So, there's no telling what the next couple of weeks are going to look like here. For sure, the GameStop price is going to crash. There's no doubt about that. That floor is going to fall out. And then the institutional investors will buy it back for a fraction, and they'll be back in business. But like you said, there's more going on. BlackBerry, the old Nokia, not the current Nokia, but the old Nokia, which is weird. The company that used to be Blockbuster Video are all seeing stock increases for this same reason. So and a cryptocurrency that was created as a joke has gone up over tenfold in the last couple of days, Dogecoin. So you know what? People are bored because we've been in lockdown for almost a year. So people are looking for ways to get boredom out. The last couple of weeks and months have really amped up tensions between what would be the elite class, Wall Street, political classes, things like that, and the common man. And so that definitely led to part of what was happening with GameStop. At one point, I read that 2/3 of all Robinhood customers held at least one share of GameStop at one point this week. Which is bonkers. So this is not the end. This is the beginning of a reset in the stock and security marketplace. they happen from time to time. Obviously, we know there was one in the 1920s. It's interesting. We're 100 years ahead and we're doing it again. But there was a reset in the 1980s. There was a reset in the 1950s. And every time somebody comes up with an algorithm to beat the market, the market resets and makes the algorithm irrelevant. So there's going to be new things that come out of this. There's going to be insurance on big losses and things that didn't exist. It's going to change things, but the thing that stock markets seem to always do is correct themselves. So my guess is we will see that happen, but it's not going to be for a while. This week's DRM not included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You know you get free shipping on millions of products, but you get a whole lot more for your subscription. You get free music with Amazon Prime Music. You get free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video. Free games and a free Twitch subscription with Amazon Prime Gaming, and a whole lot more. And we've got information, quick links to all these features, and more. A 30-day free trial if you're not an existing customer, and the ability to purchase and give Prime as a gift, all by going to f5live.tv/Prime. All right. This is an interesting new feature. We know YouTube has been doing new things to try and compete in an ever-changing streaming video landscape. You know, long ago it was kind of just YouTube. Now you've got Vimeo and Twitch and Facebook Gaming and all kinds of other places where you can watch video. And so YouTube has been running experiments to try and keep up with the best features out there. The newest experiment is kind of ripped from Twitch. They're calling it Clips, which is exactly what Twitch calls it. The idea is that you could watch our video and take a clip and pull it out and share it separately from our full, hour and a half episode. And you can do that on Twitch right now. And it's coming to YouTube as well. It's going to work a little different on YouTube than it does on Twitch. On Twitch, when you create a clip, it creates a separate, unique video that shows up on the content provider. So on our channel, there's a hot clips or a top clips section where you can see what people are pulling out, so you can see what the most exciting and most interesting parts of a particular streamer's channel are. On YouTube, it won't create a unique video. What it's going to do is it's going to work very similar to sharing a video at a timestamp, except it's going to compress the timeline from a start to a finish. So you'll be able to do up to 60 seconds, which I think is a little short, but it is what it is. You will get a unique URL for each clip, but because it's not a unique clip, it won't show up on the content producer's channel. So if you were to do the same thing on our YouTube channel, there would not be a top clips or anything. It wouldn't show up anywhere. But you would get a URL that you'd be able to share. It would play just that up to 60 seconds. But the people who click on it will get an option to watch the full video, which will unlock the full timeline and start the video at the top. So YouTube is definitely up against some things that are different than what Twitch is up against. Obviously, Twitch is all live. YouTube is only partially live, and a small portion at that. A lot of YouTube content creators, are fighting with an algorithm for discovery. There's that special 10-minute window. There's being able to read your own ads. There's the amount of time that's watched. And all of that is coming under fire with these clips, and we don't know exactly what it's going to mean for the algorithm, because you actually get hit for short bump outs. So if somebody only watches 60 seconds of a video and then leaves, your channel gets moved down in the algorithm. So YouTube has not addressed how any of this is going to work. Obviously, you'll get your view, but you won't, it'll hurt on your time. YouTube hasn't addressed how any of this is going to work. Hopefully, they will before the feature goes live. Hopefully, we'll know how the algorithm works, so people know how to deal with it. But it's definitely an interesting feature, Avram.
I mean, it sounds like it's the use case for this. Let's say, I see somebody's video and I can't believe they said this at 2 minute and 31 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to share that little, that crazy thing that this person said at 2 minutes and 31 seconds on Twitter. So I can create this and then I can share it to Twitter or share it to Facebook. And look, this is the relevant part that you should care about.
Right.
Now, the thing is, this is solving a somewhat non-existent problem because you can, although I don't think a lot of people know this, change the start time of any clip you share by putting T equals, and I think that the number of seconds in that you want.
Yeah. And if you hit if you hit the share button under a video, it will give you the option to share it from where you are right now in the video. There's a little checkbox, and it'll alter the share.
You can already do that.
Yes.
You can already do that. I guess the thing that this adds to that is that if I share it that way, people can't go further than another minute into the video
or whatever you choose on the
go back.
Or whatever you choose on the timeline.
Right. Okay. So
up to and including 60 seconds.
Right. So they can't go further than up to a minute longer. But why? Like, why don't I just give it to people from that moment, and then if they want to stop watching after 60 seconds, they can. I don't know what favor you're doing to the user. I mean, I guess in theory, what you're talking about might actually come out in favor of the content creator because, I don't know, let's say we're sharing a video of the show, and I can't believe Scott said that at the 341 second mark.
Right.
Whatever. Right. So if I share it the current way and I put it on Twitter and people are like, oh man, I can't believe Scott said that. And then they hit stop. Right. Oh man, it looks like your video is only viewed for, 10 seconds or whatever. If I make it a 10-second video, then presumably
maybe
YouTube, we hope YouTube would count it separately and say, oh, well, they only had a 10-second video anyway. So, no, it's no big deal that they stopped after 10 seconds because it was a 10-second video.
Right.
So, I suppose in that respect, it could be doing the content creator a favor,
perhaps,
if it's used in their favor.
Yeah, it all depends on how Google implements it into the algorithm.
But honestly, I don't see the point. It's almost like this ridiculous Quibi thing where it was like, people want bite-sized videos. Okay, hit stop then. Like, don't watch it then. Like, I mean, you want a bite-sized video? Hit stop. I mean, like, don't watch the whole thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I'll decide when I've watched enough. I mean, if it's good, I'll keep watching.
On Twitch, I understand what's happening, right? You've got somebody who's playing Fortnite for 4 hours, and you want to share a particular crazy thing that they did, like a particular interesting success story or something like that. I get it. And because of the way clips work, it gets listed as a clip. So other people coming to the channel can see what the fans of that channel think are the most interesting thing that streamer has done. I get it. That makes sense. I go to channels and go, okay, let's see what this person's about. Boop, watch a couple of clips, get a feel for who they are, what they're doing. Are they a character gamer? Are they a speed runner? Who are they? What are they doing? I get it. But this implementation seems to completely misunderstand what people love about clips on Twitch and more closely resembles what Hulu did when it launched, which was exactly this. They weren't listed anywhere. They weren't anything special, but you could share the clips on social media, and they were so poorly received that the feature went away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, just encourage people to share from the timestamp that they want to show. Maybe people will end up watching more than you think.
Or implement it correctly. One or the other. Don't do this down the middle, not pleasing anybody implementation, because I don't think anybody is going to care about this, especially if they don't implement the algorithm side of things correctly and we start getting hurt by it, because I can guarantee if that happens, first thing that happens is a setting is created to turn it off for a channel. So, and then they've put all this time in and it just becomes video annotations, which are gone. So, you know, it's weird. It's an interesting, if implemented correctly, it could be interesting. Under these circumstances, it is, like you said, it is no different than sharing at a timestamp. So I don't know. It seems like they missed the point to me. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate our live listeners. If you weren't able to join us live and would like to in the future, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to f5live.tv/join us and chat with us, give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. If you're not able to do that, that is okay. You can always go to plughitslive.com/subscribe, and there you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live and the Piltch Point. You'll see PLUGHITZ Live Presents, which is where all of our CES content is going. And of course, you can find all of the ways that you can subscribe, watch, listen, and all of that. Social media, podcatchers, basically anywhere you want us to be, we probably are. And if we're not, let us know and we'll try and get there as well. Both sites have got a ton of content coming up, including Avram's review on the Alienware laptop. I cannot wait to see the full details on that. Obviously, we've got a ton of interviews being published every day. 3 per day until all 104 are published. But that is the undertaking that we take for CES. So it's okay. It's a lot of fun. So you can find all of that and more. And with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you back next week. Ciao. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.